Hello one and all, my name is Sean Splains and this is Slay the Spire 2. Last time we left off with playing as the Regent, and today we have another new character to the Slay the Spire series in the Necrobinder. Our new ability is Bound Phylactery, which at the start of your turn summons 1, and that is the new mechanic that's attached to this character with Osti, your Apparent. So let's just jump into it. So here we have Golden Peril we've seen before, it's just 150 gold. We can remove a card, or we get 2 random relics at the cost of adding an additional strike and defend to our deck, which as we know are cards that we want to get rid of. First of all, like with the other characters, we'll look at what her basic deck looks like, which is 4 strikes, 4 defends, and then 2 unique cards in Bodyguard, which causes you to summon 5, giving your Osti 5 health basically, or Unleash, which deals 6 damage, plus it also deals additional damage equal to Osti's current HP. So it's a strike, but it also does more based on the HP, which there are multiple ways to manipulate that, and we'll probably be doing that in our run. Again, like other characters, there's multiple ways to do builds, but my favourite personally is the Osti build, so I'll probably be working on that myself. Here, we do have an early shop, so Golden Peril's looking like an option. We've got an elite just before the bonfire, right before we fight the Vantum. Up here, I've not mentioned it before, but you can actually kind of highlight all your different tooltips, and one of them, it tells you the ancient that you get, which is always the same in Act 1, what floor you're on, and also the name of the boss that you fight at the end, just for an extra little bit of help. Here we're going to take the elite at the end. So here we're going to go up here, then up here. Then we'll decide if we feel like we're prepared to take on the elite or not. Then go this way, take a heal probably, and then take the elite and then go into the boss. Just not sure which path we're taking, and let's find out. Oh, I need to pick my thing. I'm picking the Golden Peril because I think getting the early gold here is really important. Take a defend. So as we notice, we have Osti automatically with our summon 1 every turn. This is going to block damage from the enemies, but it doesn't block certain indirect damage, which I'll point out as we go through. Basically, status cards that cause damage tend to attack you directly, like the Infection cards from one of the elites, but we'll probably see that later on. Again, this is the Unleash card, so because he's at 2 HP, it's 6 plus the 2. And on turns where you're not being attacked like this, it's important to try and get his HP up as much as possible, because this scales with the damage. So here, we'll do this, we'll attack for 19 already at this stage in the game. And then here I can actually afford to play more risky and take the strike, because I know that this 11 isn't going to do any damage to me. So as we see, it doesn't do any damage to our main character, just Osti, which is fine. And then here we have Defile, which is 13 damage for 1 energy, which seems insane. But the drawback is if you don't play the card, then it will exhaust itself. Here we have Rattle. Osti deals 7 damage, hits an additional time for each other time he has attacked this turn, which is really good for your Osti builds. It's a good idea to have at least one of these. And then another unique and interesting mechanic with the Necrobinder is Debilitate. Deal 10 damage, and vulnerable and weak effects are twice as effective against the enemy for the next 3 turns. So especially in co-op games, if you're playing with your friends, pairing this character with Debilitate along with your Ironclad, who just always has enemies vulnerable, being able to do double the damage is very strong. Very strong ability. But unless we already have our own vulnerable scaling, there's no point in taking this, so I'm going to take Rattle. Although, I mean, Defile would also be a good shout, but we're going to take Rattle here. We'll go into the shop, and since we've got 263 gold, we can, I was about to say we can take everything. That's quite expensive for a relic, but we can just have every option available to us here. We've got another Rattle, which is tempting, because it will obviously scale with itself. I think this is almost a snap pick whenever A, you have enough gold, and B, especially this early on. So I'm very tempted to take membership cards. Master of Strategy is always good, as we've seen in previous runs. Just being able to draw more cards for free is good. And again, Flash of Steel, being able to draw cards for free and get damage off is good. Hang is a very good card for this character. Deals 10 damage and double the damage all hang cards deal to this enemy. There's strategies that you can use to minimise your deck and only have hang, or at least have multiple hangs in your deck, so this becomes very, very good. Rattle, as we've seen, is already good for certain reasons. Defy is another ethereal card, but you gain 6 block and apply 1 weak, so this is a very good defensive card. Invoke, next turn summon 2 and gain 2 energy. And Haunt, whenever you play a soul, a random enemy loses 6 HP, and a soul is a 0 cost card which draws 2 cards and exhausts itself. So the 3 modes that you get with this character effectively are your ethereal cards, there's quite a lot of them, and certain cards scale off of how many ethereal cards you have in your deck or how many you've exhausted. Your Oste cards, which are built around making him stronger and using him to attack the enemy whilst also blocking yourself. And your soul cards, which there's certain cards that will create souls and put them into your deck, and then when you play them with the Haunt, you'll just continuously do damage to the other enemy, so you can keep drawing and drawing and drawing and doing more damage. But personally, I like doing the Oste, so that's what we're going to angle towards today. And with this choice, for me, the logical decision is picking up Membership card early, because that's just so effective. Taking a Flash of Steel, because being able to draw is really strong. And then we still have a lot of options, which I didn't count out personally. You should always try and count out so you know you can get what you want. I didn't really do that. But I think I'm going to take the remove here and remove one of the strikes. In terms of when you're removing your strikes and defends with this character, I would almost always remove 2 strikes, 1 defend, and then 1/1 after that, because you really don't need your strikes as much. You're pretty much always just blocking and letting Oste do the work if you can help it. So that was a very efficient golden peril. We managed to use up all of the money pretty much. Here we'll attack the guy in the back. We'll do the summon for the max HP. So there, even though I could have blocked or used the summon, because he was only doing 3 damage, technically it was better value to do the summon, because now he has more HP this turn. Here I will fully block the damage and hit him once, because I want to try and preserve Oste HP. We get the free kill with Flash. We can bodyguard. I'll use the slime just to get it out of my deck. Fully block again and hit him for 17. And then finish him off. Here we have 3 new cards. Severance, deal 13 damage and add a soul into your draw pile, hand and discard pile. So that's creating 3 souls and dealing 13 damage for 2 energy, which is really good. And when this is upgraded, it goes up to 18 damage, which is decent. But again, we're not going for a soul build, so I'm going to try and stay away from these cards. Wisp is a bit of a trap for me. You see some people take it because if you upgrade this card, it gains retain and it allows you to gain an energy for free, but you're using up the card slot for that, so I'm not a big fan of it. I don't think it's a very good card. I won't be taking it. And then we have Poke, which is 0 damage, 0 cost to do either 6 or 9 damage with Oste. I typically wouldn't take this card, but because it's Ascension 0 and we're doing an Oste build, I'm just going to take it for fun, just to try and get as many Oste cards as possible. But if you're doing a highly optimised build, as much as it's 0, it's not that good a card. It's just a strike with 1 less cost to it, and more often than not, it's not going to be that useful for us. But we'll take it here anyway. So attack now, but we'll take our first hit point of damage. I will allow Oste to go down here so we get extra damage in. I can't seem to click today for some reason. Here I'll unleash and then rattle. So here you go, see that hits twice because I used unleash first. Here we have Dance Macabre. Whenever you play a card that costs 2 or more, gain 4 block, which is a really cool power if you've got a lot of high cost cards, which this character certainly can, including Berry, which costs 4, so you can't typically play it unless you have other cards that give her energy, but she has a lot of cards that give her energy. This goes up to 63 damage, which if we're doing our efficiency, that is 15.6-ish damage per energy, so it's not bad for your efficiency. But 4 cost is pretty steep at this point in the game. As I mentioned earlier, when I saw Defy in the shop, I think it's quite a good card. Being able to apply Weaken to an enemy and gain 6 block is very nice. Here, we'll unleash on this guy, killing him, and then rattle this guy, killing him, and then hit this guy. Weaken this. Hit. Block, so we're blocking most of the damage with our block itself, and he gets to keep some of his HP. He's hitting again. That is unusual. Weaken him again. Next turn he should be doing status cards. Do this. We're unfortunately getting quite a lot of status cards in our deck now, so it's getting harder to play things that we want to. There we go. Oh, Lucky Tonic. Very nice potion. Here we have Friendship. Lose 2 strength. Gain 1 energy at the start of each turn. As much as this might seem bad on the surface, losing strength, your strength and dexterity doesn't apply to Osti himself. So if you were to lose this, it's only my strikes and Flash of Steel that would lose damage, but Poke, Unleash and Rattle would all stay at their current damage, and you're getting an extra turn, an extra energy, sorry. So that is a pretty good power, and I do tend to take it quite a lot when I'm doing one of these builds. Defy, we don't really need a second one right now, and Devour Life, whenever you play a soul, summon 1. So this is a good way to actually convert souls into an Osti build. I've actually never seen this card. I'm assuming it's new since the last patch because I haven't seen it before. So I think I'll take it because that seems fun. I don't have any soul stuff yet, so it's not the most optimal play. I would have said if I was doing the most optimal play, I would have probably skipped that one, but what's the upgrade on it? 2 souls, okay, that can be cool. I'll take the Flash of Steel upgrade. And here, we'll attack this guy. I should have played this because I still had energy and I would have kept it in the deck, but now that I've lost it, that's not a problem, but it's not great either. Play Flash of Steel. We really want to see anything at 0 cost here. Right, we get defend, strike for free, and then we can rattle and hit 3 times, so we could knock him into the next phase. What do we get next turn? We unfortunately get 3 infections next turn and no way to really block them. So I kind of want to stall this turn out. So I'll take a defend here. And then hit him. I honestly thought I was going to draw Flash of Steel. What are the odds I didn't draw that? That's harsh. So here we'll get to see the interaction with the infection cards. They actually go straight off your health and ignore Osti, which is good and bad. You get to preserve his HP, but you obviously suffer at the same time, unfortunately. So we'll take Flash of Steel, hopefully draw an attack. We do draw an attack, that's good. And then we'll hit these guys. So we'll hit him. We'll block 5 of the incoming 6 damage. Then we'll play this as efficiently as we can. Do I even need to do this? I don't. Well, I do to block. No, the infection goes first, I think. So we'll hit this guy in the back. We'll block. Infection procs first. And then Osti takes a little bit of damage, which is totally fine. Again, Osti's just going to take the damage, so it doesn't matter too much here. So we just had that one bad turn. Again, he's still not outpacing Osti. So I could even just let him hit me. That's not a huge issue. Because I want to get some chip on him. Take 1 damage. Well, I said it wasn't an issue, but it's starting to become one. This is the big problem with this fight sometimes, where if you don't kill them fast enough, you start to have problems. We get there in the end though. That is why. That would have been great before this fight. Here we have Wisp again, not very nice. Pull from below, deal 5 damage for each ethereal card played this combat, so this is our first ethereal scaling. And Blight Strike, apply Doom equal to damage dealt. When I was mentioning builds earlier on, I somehow managed to bypass the Doom build, which is very exclusive to this game and this character, where it's similar to Poison, but the damage only really applies at the end of the turn and it's not passive damage. So you scale a lot of Doom on an enemy, and if the amount of Doom on the enemy outweighs how much health they currently have, they die after they attack. So if an enemy has 60 max HP, but you take them down to 35 and you apply 35 Doom on them, they will attack and then they will perish. Don't think that was the best explanation, but I will take this just so I can showcase it. I'm not going to try and go for that full build though. This is quite a rare event you don't see too often. Unrest Site. You find a secluded rest site and start a fire to get some rest, or so you thought. Once the fire is started, it begins to swell, reaching not upwards, but sideways towards a grove of oil-seeping trees. Should you try resting anyways? Rest anyways to get heal back to full HP, but you receive a curse called Poor Sleep, which basically just stays in your hand all the time when you get it and bloats out your hand. This can be a problem in certain fights where the enemy forces you to have multiple cards, or in other situations that you can get retain. Or here, lose 8 max HP to gain a random relic. In this character, this is probably the most efficient, this is the best character to have this choice, I feel, because this is the character that needs HP the least because of how Osti works. So we're going to take Kill the Trees, although there are certain situations I would take Rest anyways and then just remove the card. We get Pocket Watch, which is not great. We'll talk about that in a second. These trees are clearly malicious, so you decide to get rid of them. Days later, you're covered in ash and oily goop. A massive flock of little bird spirits rise from the slain trees and drop a small box at your feet. Thank you for freeing us from those trees. Cheap, cheap. You should really sleep more. So, Pocket Watch. Whenever you play 3 or fewer cards in your turn, draw 3 additional cards at the start of your next turn. So because this is a build where we're typically playing 3 or more cards a turn, this isn't going to come into use that often, but it will on certain turns. We'll make an effort to. On turns where enemies are buffing, we can just actively use 2 or less so we get more options next turn. Sparkling Rouge. At the start of your 3rd turn, gain 1 strength and 1 dexterity, which will then obviously be for the rest of the combat. So that's good in elite fights and boss fights. Here is an example of a turn where we're not going to play 3 cards. As much as I could play Defy and keep it in my deck, or I could play Devour Life so I don't have to draw it again, we can instead proc the Pocket Watch and get a lot of different cards, so we've got more choices. And here I'm going to play Bodyguard, Unleash, and Defend because I don't want to lose Osti's HP. The 3 dazeds are annoying, but it should be fine. And as long as we play 3 cards or less, we'll just continue to get the benefits. And thankfully, because of Gremlin Horn, we can continue to kill this guy every turn and still get an energy back for it and get a card drawn, which in this case is going to win us the combat. We get Clarity Extract, which allows us to draw 1 card, and at the start of the next 3 turns, draw an additional card, which is very nice. Borrowed Time is a card, gain 4 energy. Cards cost an additional energy this turn, and that goes up to 6 energy. So that's a very double-edged sword at times. Shroud, whenever you apply Doom, gain 2 or 3 block. We're not doing a big Doom build. I don't even know if I want Borrowed Time. Nah, I think that's a skip. Don't want to blow out our deck too much. We want a very specific set of cards to play. We could lose the HP and transform a card here, but I don't want to transform it into something unusable. But then I also don't really want 2 random potions. I think I'll just transform a strike into hopefully something good. Reeve, deal 9 damage and add a soul to your draw pile. Okay, we're getting some soul synergy. And here, I could go up to 11 damage and a soul plus. I think we summon 2. That could be 9. It's definitely going to be one of the heavy hitter bosses that are just going to do a lot of damage, so I think resting here is the best idea. And I would like a way to get block cards. I'm kind of glad that this is a fight. I need to try and get through this without losing health, and ideally I want to kill Shrinker Beetle as soon as possible. Thankfully, Osti isn't affected by your shrink status, so his, again, similar to me losing strength or losing dexterity, his attacks aren't affected and they'll continue to do the damage that they should. We can reave to kill him. We can apply Blight, or Doom, sorry, and we can show off what happened. He's setting up again. I think I'm quite happy to lose Defy here. I just kind of want to go... He's going to go up to 11 damage. I will play the Soul. Poke, Reeve. I want him to die from the Doom to show that off. So he will attack and then he'll just die. So that's how Doom works. I kind of now have to incorporate it a wee bit more because having one Doom card makes no sense. This is really good for certain fights with a lot of enemies in it. This is a, in my opinion, I love this card. I take it quite often actually, even when I'm not even doing a Doom build, because just having effectively a block card that just that applies the Doom over time to all enemies is excellent. But this can also be really good because it applies the weak and it applies a lot more Doom. I think I'm just going to take Negative Pulse. I just like it more. It's a personal preference thing. But with this character, getting as many block cards as you can and just letting Osti and Doom do the work is, in my opinion, the way to play it out. And when I was playing through this game the first time, like blind, I played through this character all the way to the hardest difficulty at Ascension 10 and only lost one run. Playing defensive is definitely the way to go, I would say. Back to this fight, we have the Bygone Effigy. As we remember from last time, he does... I'm going to just play this. That worked out. He'll give us 2 turns to attack him as many times as we like, and then he's going to start doing 25 damage per hit. So we need to just get it all out just now, if we can. I don't mind dropping Defy, as much as Weak is really strong against this guy. I don't know if I want to start stacking Doom, because that would allow him to hit first. I think I'm just going to take Strike and Rattle. Oh, it's 23, sorry. I think it goes up to 25 at higher difficulties. I'm too used to that damage. Here, I'm actually going to pop the Lucky Tonic potion to give me a bit of breathing room here, because I want to play Devour Life and then play the Soul. Then I'll play Poke and Unleash and Rattle. Then that means he can hit me once and I don't really care. And then ideally I just finish him off. Eternal Feather is great. Means you'd hardly ever have to rest at rest sites. For every 5 cards in your deck, they'll heal 3 HP whenever you enter a rest site. So our average that I like to keep to is 25 or less, but if you have 25, you're healing for 15 every time you just get to a rest site. And I tend to path for 4 rest sites and an act, so you're healing for 60 HP per act basically, which is really good. Here we have some more new options. We have Death March, deal 8 damage, deal 3 additional damage for each card drawn during your turn, so this pairs really well with the Soul stuff. Sentry Mode, at the start of your turn, add 1 Sweeping Gaze into your hand, which is a free card that deals 10 damage to a random enemy from Osti. And Right Hand, which Osti deals 4 damage. Whenever you play a card that costs 2 or more, return this to your hand from your discard pile. At the moment I don't have enough 2 cost cards, so I'm going to just take Sentry Mode. We can take that down to a 1 cost from a 2 cost when we upgrade it, so we'll probably try and upgrade this as quick as we can, including right now. So here I would have had to think maybe about healing or smithing, but because of the Eternal Feather we actually gained that 8 HP. And now we have the freedom, 9 HP I believe it was actually, sorry. Now I have the freedom to just upgrade Sentry Mode, get that cost down, and go into this fight feeling a little bit more comfortable. Unfortunately I would have liked that Lucky Tonic potion here as well. I'll hopefully make it work. I'm actually kind of nervous about this fight, so we'll see how I get on. Because I have to get through all of these hits before I can do any damage, and also he does a lot of damage very fast, and that's not how my build plays out. So I'll play Devour Life so I don't have to draw it again. We unfortunately lose Osti right away, so we don't get that scaling very quick. We can hit you with the Flash of Steel. It's going to be very important as we go on. Get Sentry Mode off as quickly as possible. Defy and Summon. Now he does the big attack, but we also get our +1 Dexterity, which is nice. And now every single turn we're going to start getting Sweeping Gaze. So we get 3 damage. Weaken again. More Doom. We want to try and get the Doom because that's probably what's going to kill him in the end. And as mentioned before, I can go all the way down to 1 HP and that's totally fine. I think, realistically, based on my guesswork, I've got 8 more turns to beat this guy before he would realistically kill me. So let's try and get through it. We've got through phase 1 of the fight, so to speak. I'm going to actually apply the Doom because, like I said, I think that's more valuable. And as you've seen as well, apart from one fight, I've not really managed to use Pocket Watch efficiently, so it's not great for this build, we'll say. That gets us some Oste. And here, I'll just block a little bit and I'll hit him. 8 times 2, want to see Defy, we don't get Defy, that's unfortunate. Still don't get it, okay. Sweeping Gaze, Poke and Rattle. And then Reeve. I can't save Oste, can I? No, I'll just go for the attack. Now he's doing 29. We do get the Defy here, we get the negative pulse, so he's not doing a lot of damage to us. You can see the Doom's starting to build up now as well. I do love the colour of that bar, like the purple is very nice to look at. And then the HP becomes consumed by the colour purple when he's officially in the range, similar to how Poison goes green. It doesn't matter as much here because he's not attacking, but it's important to always remember that he will attack or commit to his action before getting consumed by the Doom. So don't allow yourself to get caught off guard and accidentally die because you forget that. We get our usual 100 gold and then we get an option to 3 new cards. Call of the Void is a power at the start of your turn, add 1 random card into your hand, it gains Ethereal. Undeath gains 7 block, add a copy of this card into your discard pile. Or Eidolon, exhaust your hand, if 9 cards were exhausted, gain 1 intangible. At the moment this is quite hard to play but not impossible. Because we have Pocket Watch and because we have souls in our deck, it's possible for sure to max out our hand, but it's not easy and it's not worth gambling on, I don't think. Just so you know, it would go down to 1 cost if you were to upgrade that. Undeath would go from 7 to 9 block, and Call of the Void would become innate, so you get to play it at the start of every battle. I think I'm not a huge fan of any of these cards. I think Undeath can be good because, like I said, you want to stay... You want a lot of block, effectively, in this game, but the issue with Undeath is because it adds a copy of itself into your discard pile, in boss fights and elite fights where you're sitting there for 9-10 turns, you can quite easily get like 10 Undeaths in your discard, and some turns you'll just be blocking and that's all you'll be doing, but you might not be blocking enough on certain scaling characters. So it's important to block as much as you can, but you don't want to only focus on that and then lose out to enemies that purposefully stack their strength, and they will outscale and they will kill you in a battle of attrition. So it's about finding that balance, and in terms of that, this card is harder to use, especially as the game goes on. Very good in Act 1, usable in Act 2, but probably by the time you get to Act 3 boss, you don't really want it anymore, and we're playing for the long game. So I'm going to play with the randomness of Call of the Void given as a card and it being ethereal, because even if we get something we don't want, since it's ethereal, it can just go away at the end of the turn, so it's not much of a risk. And that's what we're going to call it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. My name has been Sean Splains. I'll see you in the next one.